Hello, everybody. How you doing? Let me get to the right thing so I can see chat. Um, yeah, it's been a interesting week. If anybody hasn't noticed, this Saturday is going to be an extremely fun show. I've been looking forward to for a while. Just trying to get everybody's schedules to work out. But today is all about positivity, and I actually looked up some notes and stuff that's beyond just me, rather than just me talking, because I only have my perspective, just like John only has his perspective, which gives you two different aspects, but trying to give you a more rounded one. While the world is kind of a little bit of a downer, trying to bring yourself into a positive light. We talk about it and touched on it a lot, but I figured it's actually important enough, especially if you want this year to be a positive year, to actually focus on it and make a show about it. So that's where I came up with the idea. I mean, you've been talking about it since day one this year. Like New Year's Eve, you
Yeah.
told me that was going to be like your resolution is try to be positive in
Yep.
2021.
Positive,
So,
positive.
speaking of, how was your week?
It's been pretty good so far. I've had, I've had about 5 weeks off class here, so kind of enjoying the downtime. No schedules or anything like that, so I'm just trying to get some things done and get about as best as I can. But the weather's not really cooperating, so
I know the feeling. I froze today. I had an exhaust issue on the car, so I went underneath to check it out, and it did not get finished today because that ground was bitter, very bitter. It only got up in the like low teens today at all, and that's
oh
pretty
wow,
cold to be laying on the ground. So really miss having my garage at the other house. This has got a lot more room, a lot more housing area, and a storefront, but there's really no room for the garage. There's no actual garage space, just a parking lot. So yeah, most of my work's done either outside or in a carport tent. So it's not the
yeah.
same.
Mm-mm.
But that said, anybody in chat, if anybody's having any issues, always speak up, say something,
Hmm.
and we can transition over because that's actually more important than anything. Is if someone's having a bad day to make sure that they get a little bit of attention to try and help them through it. That said, if you're having a good day, put that in chat as well because it's actually really good to spread that positivity
Sure is.
as we get into today's show. We'll give a few minutes for everybody to get here or just chit chat for a second. I don't know. I've been getting a lot done around the house. I know this is boring behind me. It'll get better. It won't be just a white wall. I mean, if you could see down lower, I did install the LED light strip was kind of laying there last week. I actually installed it this week, so it's multicolor light strip underneath. I love the fact that with the halo, you can't see it. You turn the halo off and the light off, it's nice and bright. But with the halo on, you can't see
Yeah.
anything.
I told Tim it looks like he's making a hostage video, a ransom video, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Is John holding me hostage?
Nondescript white wall. Yeah. Positivity.
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 Yeah, I'm positively kept hostage. No, it's been a good year so far. I think that in general, it has been a positive year. So, I mean, last year was kind of a learning experience and a building experience to create this year to be a better year for most
Hmm.
people.
Hmm.
Getting the money and stuff together for, and if you can't hear, the dog wants attention. Uh, but yeah, that last year we had to have a period of time when you got such a chaotic situation happen to get into the rhythm of things. You are positive. Oh, yay.
Matt says we are not paying for Tim. I'm positive.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm positive too. So thank you guys.
You
No,
know,
it's good.
there.
Go ahead.
And thinking about in the topic today for positivity, right? So we have a choice in how we react to the world, and it affects our whole thought processes. So there's this famous story about the Buddha. Hang with me here. It has a pretty it ties into what we're talking about. The Buddha came into a small village, and a man came up to him, a young man. He's very angry. He said, "Who are you to think that you can teach all these people, that you have the way? That's just insane. You need to get out of this village." And the Buddha looked at him and he said, if you give someone a present and they don't accept it, who does the present belong to? And the young man thought for a second and he said, well, it belongs to me. I bought it. I bought it. So it's actually my property. Buddha says, exactly. You're correct. So if you get angry with me and I don't let myself be affected by your anger and I don't take it on, then the anger remains with you. I'm unaffected by it. And so that's a good way to think about maintaining positivity, right? Radiating the right energy. The things that you give, you might have to take back, right? So it's really thinking about how we react to the world and how the world puts pressure on us. And then, we have to take ownership of the way that we act. And so that's that road to positivity. That's that, I can choose to react to this a different way. I can choose to kind of shape my reality in the way that benefits me instead of having to carry those things around with me. So I thought it was a pretty good story. It kind of ties into what we're talking about here. And, you have the personal power to kind of shape your own reality in your own way and not have to drag around those feelings with you all the time. So
I'm one of those people that dabbles and reads in a lot of different religions. And as long as we're going on Buddhism, there's actually another one about perspective that actually makes a big difference and can kind of relate as well. So you got Ganesh, that's the god of luck. The long story on how he came into creation, but he's got the elephant head. There was a contest between him and his brother, who rides on a peacock, about who can go around. The thing was who's going to be the favorite son, because it was like, okay, fine. And it talks about the fact that, the first person to go all the way around the world, and the person who wins will be the favorite son. Well, his brother hops on a peacock and they say go, and he takes off to go around the world. Ganesh gets on his little ride, his mouse, and goes a full circle around his parents. And that was his world. It's all a matter of perspective. It kind of gives you a difference of whether or not you're going to worry about the problems of the entire world or focus on your little world. And a lot of times you have a lot more control in your little world than you do in a broad spectrum world. Like, you can't control the pandemic, but you can control what's going on at home and the time you spend with your family and your friends.
Exactly correct. That's exactly correct.
Yep. So I thought that just came off my head when you started talking about Buddhism. It's a story I really love. It's a really great story. And it kind of is a way I kind of started living my life, is worrying about, my family. Mm-hmm. And then my family grew, but it's still my family. So, yeah. Tobro, welcome. I want to give shout outs real quick before we move on into the serious talk.
The serious stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
They're telling me.
Remember, everyone, to switch to live chat. I got the only Tobro in. Kira Views. Hey, Kira. Matt Chandler. Hey, Matt. Somebody named an advocate for liberty. Some guy named Lightbearer here. He's kind of shifty. Bill Richards. Night Gaunt. 1980 is in. Don't want to miss anybody. Duchess is in chat. Hey, Duchess. That's my interim. Lady Liberty is in the chat. Hello. The only Tobro. And Chris Vandal just popped in. Oh, and Addie Tooney. So there we go. Tooney. Just trying to catch up with everything. So
speaking of Addie Tooney, in our Discord, you can see the link already. Thumbnail's still in transition. Lightbearer hadn't finished the final rendition, but I want to get the link up. But Addie Tooney and Mr. Grim Green are going to be on this weekend, and I can't wait, because to me, they are like the heart of the community and the heart of, not just the community, but they just have big hearts. And to me, that just, it just feels like the right thing to do this year. So I've been really looking forward to this, trying to get everybody to have the same time free to go and do the show on a Saturday where we're not limited on time in case they want to talk a little bit long. Which I have a feeling I have a couple questions ready that are kind of being open to interpretation where I know kind of want the answers, so I would suspect on this vote. I'm looking forward to that so much. But that said, yeah, I did actually get notes and stuff, and like I said, I actually looked stuff up because there were a couple
All
things I
right.
liked. Because we talked about general things before, you know, how many, things that can help you. Like, well, for one, I mean, a few of these actually hit on that. But there's a tip on how to remain positive in a negative world. Um, Dwell on the beauty of life and focus on moments of perfection. It can be just visual aids or, a moment like, say you had a child or born to the family or friend. That could be one of those. Try to pursue a dream. We have seen a lot more of that lately, and I'm actually kind of excited for people because you've seen people that have pursued dreams like Ashton. Ashton pursuing his dream to run his own powder coat business, and look at what he's done. And he's a good
Yeah.
example of that. Give the benefit of the doubt. We've been talking about that a lot lately, especially when it comes to like texting and stuff. Chances are there's probably something, if someone's acting really out of character, one of the two of you misunderstood something and something happened, most likely. But try to give the benefit of the doubt that maybe they might not mean it the way you're taking it. Or if they do, maybe it's because they misperceived something that caused them to feel that way. And choose gratefulness. Be grateful to those. Try not to focus on the negative side of things, but be more grateful to the people that are around you that are showing you positives. And give freely. When you can and you're able. Obviously, this year is very tough financially, but there are a lot of people in need right now. You see Addie all the time posting some links to stuff for GoFundMe's and such that are very important, including like the yo that just went on for Scott. That they raised a good amount of money. There was a total of I think it's $10,000 or $11,000 toward his kids for his two boys. So that's actually amazing. That's
That is
something to
amazing.
say, to get the people, the community together, have enough donations, and to raise that amount of money for the kids. That's just nothing like it. Avoid negative habits. I mean, this can fall into if you're like in recovery as well. It's tough not to fall back into that. Or someone that has a little bit of an issue of over drinking during stressful times, or anything like that, or just being a pessimist. That's actually a negative habit. And be faithful. That kind of has a two meaning thing. Be faithful to your friends and family, obviously, and if you have a significant other, but also it has that be faithful to yourself. Really believe in yourself. Don't just say you are, and don't try to really feel it. Internalize that faithfulness.
Mhm.
And in conclusion, there'll be times we will want to embrace negativity, let it go. And that was something I got off the internet, but actually it was pretty good. And I did adjust it a little bit. It's not just straight up because I didn't agree with everything in it. Some of it was like, so I did make some choices.
Yeah.
And then I got the now this one here was kind of like someone's perspective. It was a vlog, but I really liked it. If the dog will stop, like trying to kick himself to death. Sorry about that. Control the amount of negative news in your life. You know, while I stay, this is something I do. While I stay up with current events in the world, sometimes you know, I try to headline sufficient new developments. Try to not focus on it. Limit some time spent on the TV watching like ads, or on the radio, TV, internet. Some of the negativity just you can't keep up with it all, and there is a lot of it. So if you need it, it's kind of an unplug situation. So occasionally you have to unplug and take a little time away from certain. Social media can be that way. For some people, that it's just too hard to watch. I've seen some people step away from Twitter. Some people step away from Facebook because it just can't take all the negative energy.
Yeah.
And that follows along with control the number of negative people in your life. Sometimes if people are just negative constantly around you, you can control the amount of time you spend with them, or you can control whether or not you think it's even worth it to spend time with them until they're in a better state of mind. Because even as much as it feels good to help them, if it's dragging you down to the point where you can't keep yourself above water, it's not worth it. You got to come first because you can't really help anyone if you're in that spot. Like my notes on it, where I spent many days talking to people about their problems, and some days are filled with uplifting reports, and others not so much. And however, you can spend as how much. However, you can select how much time you spend with negative relatives and friends that dwell in the negative. As painful as it may be at times, your calendar may not be open to those that consistently drag you down. It's terrible to think that way, but sometimes if it's not going to bring you up,
That's what that just a point on that one is, that
yep.
My professor said a third and a third and it's a third, right? So my psychology professor, right? So when you're trying to help people, a third of those don't want your help. A third of it will accept it, but always be in crisis mode, and a third will probably never get better. So it's a third and a third and a third, right? Yep. So that's kind of where you fall in that when you're trying to help people, and you have to realize that going into it.
The sad truth is that's one of the best case scenarios in this day and age. I have a feeling it might be even less than that. Just because of all the outside forces, kind of holding everybody in. 3 is the one we talked about many times. Listen to music. I find listening to positive music in the car, at home, or when I'm working is a great source for uplifting the spirit. It does. Music soothes the soul. There's no denying it.
That is true.
But there are times when you need the quiet. If your mind's just overwhelmed, you can feel like more anxious with the music, turn it off. Try to get as quiet as possible. And that falls into the next one. It's meditate. I often use this in one form or another because it seems to clean a junk out of my brain. You got to let that go sometimes, or at least limit your thoughts to what really matters. And I'll be honest, this year I've had a lot of positive thoughts that have been running through my brain, and a few negatives, but mostly positive. But even with it being positive, it's really hard to focus on one because there's so much. I've kind of fell into a lot of different things this year already that I'm trying to focus on. I want to get them all done, but it's deciding which one. And sometimes I have to kind of take a little time, take a few deep breaths, and take a few hours. So if you see me go dark for a day, I'm either busy working and a lot of times I do it while I work. That's a way I meditate sometimes too. But I have to think these things through and figure out which one of these projects I want to work on and which one can I work on. Sometimes there's a couple of them I want to work on bad, but it's difficult to do so when you don't have quite the right, everything's not ready. It's like something holding you back from being able to do the things you really want to do. So you think, hey, what can I do in the meantime? And that's kind of a organizational thing. That's actually not in this list, but that is something too. If you can organize your life, so meditation actually helps a lot with that, one form or another. It can be just taking a few minutes to just think and calm down. A few deep breaths usually does help. And let's see. Of course, that's not going to scroll down like it's supposed to. All right. Live consciously. Here's a way of kind of meditating while you're doing it. Is one of the suggestions in this article, this blog, was be aware of your breath, awareness of your breath. It's kind of like a meditation thing. You can, if you're just in a car, you can be listening to music and just kind of count your breaths or just feel it. Just be aware of it. When you eat, take your time and eat your food and actually taste it. How often do we rush through our meals and just eat our meal, but just devour it and not really take the time to enjoy it? That is something that obviously we all like certain foods, but we don't always enjoy them. We'll get them and we'll get so excited that we just, devour it. And then we're like, oh, I wish I would have enjoyed that more. Well, that's it. Take your time and enjoy it.
Before we get too far away from it, Chris Vandal said, I've had trouble motivating the past few months. I've relearned how to get back into listening to music, motivate my moods, and it's been helping me a lot.
Yeah, it does. And you're another person that I know that's been working on trying to focus on what to do and how to do it, because you've changed a few things in your life and trying to figure out your goals, seeing you do it, and proud of you for it, bro. Really am. Let's see. Oh, yeah. take your time, enjoy like a blue sky, a purple flower, a bird song,
Hmm.
anything that can draw you into a feeling of gratitude to the moment. Um, it can overcome those forces that are dragging you down. I thought that was a pretty good representation. It's like truthfully, it's almost like meditating. It is a form of meditating to
Hmm.
do that, to take that time. Like I said, this spring I do plan on doing some nature walks and stuff and taking some video. That way, that I can put some streams up, separate streams, so people can just, you want to chill. It's kind of like listen to a podcast. Same idea,
Hmm.
where you try to just escape reality. Maybe you want a visual with your, you know, relaxing music or something. I try to pick out a decent, unfortunately, YouTube friendly music list to go with it. I mean, it's unfortunate. We talked about this a lot, actually. There's so many songs I'd love to be able to just put on them. Not sure exactly what the copyright strike entails. If it's nothing more than you just
Hopefully,
can't.
yeah.
If
Hopefully, we'll have that solved soon. So,
Yeah. As far as the copyright strikes thing, there is a situation where I'm not sure what they're going to do with it. Right now, it doesn't seem like they truly shut you down. They give you like a warning and different things and stuff, and it's more like you can't be monetized. I don't care about that, so that doesn't bother me. But the way things are going, it makes me a little nervous that all of a sudden they could decide a different path with it and just shut down the channel. So that's where
right.
I've been hesitant on doing it. Practice gratitude here. This is in this one too. And the way that he
Mhm.
described it was appreciating people for anything that they may do to help you during your day.
Mhm.
It should be a goal of yours. Some days more successfully practiced than others. I mean, we all had those days where we just get so overwhelmed with everything else, we really don't express the gratitude we should. And
Right.
sometimes gratitude late doesn't feel the same to the person that's getting it. So try your best to stay on top of it and let people know when they've actually made your day better.
Yeah.
Helping others with random acts of kindness, like holding a door or helping a stranger or a friend having problems, can be very uplifting. That's a form of gratitude.
Right.
Something that we both try to do quite often, and so does most everybody in the chat. For as a matter of
Hmm.
fact, almost everybody in this chat, if not everybody in this chat, that's at least talking, they're pretty much
I
that
mean,
same
it's
person.
it's easy to look back over 2020 and say, man, that year sucked.
Mm-hmm.
But it's again, it's the perspective thing. It wasn't what we would all wanted the year to go like. And we all know what happened in that year. There's no need to rehash all that. But we also got to build relationships. I
Mm-hmm.
knew, you know, I just came to my mind. I saw Jason's hopping in the chat. But Kira, Matt Chandler, you know, Bill, Grizz, um, just everybody that we'd be able to form relationships with uh, this year and working relationships and checking on each other and seeing how everybody is. I think that's a real positive that came out of that, and it's a valuable positive too. Um, that it just can't be overlooked.
Quick reminder: after this part, after I finish reading these parts and John says his part, I have a surprise. The vaping artist thing is ready. So if anybody has a way to contact them, let them know, or we'll let them know after the stream or whatever to check it out. There's something special
Oh, he
about to
was
come
in
up.
earlier.
Okay, well, there's something
Yeah.
special coming up here at the end of this little thing. Um, Lady Liberty finally finished the vaping artist portion of something, so I'm going to show that on stream.
Oh no.
This will be, yeah, it is an oh no. It won't get us shut down, I hope. But all right, here's one that is kind of controversial, but at the same time, it kind of can be important for some people. So I left it in there in this list. There's a couple I did take out. Like I said, I adjusted these. But to pray, although it isn't for everyone, in many cases, it can be a very powerful tool in self care as well as social interaction. And those are all my notes. The notes he had, apparently, he's really into true religion and praying and was explaining it all, but I wanted to keep it kind of simple. But it can be extremely powerful to those who, if you believe, and that comes into your faith, then it is important to do that. And if that's what you need to keep yourself centered, even if you're not 100% believing of the religion, if you believe enough to the point where it makes you feel better, do it. What bad can come of that? Nothing. Read positive books and interviews. Reading a new book is often refreshing, but going back to them now and then can also be a positive moment. Like if you have a really good book series you remember from a long time ago, and maybe you still have the books. If you can bring yourself to read, I know I'm not one of those people that can read real well when I'm stressed. However, if I can get past that and get into the book, sometimes it can take me right out of reality for a while, and I lose track of days. That happened when the Aragon series, when the first couple books came out. I read through those first two books in like a week, and the week was like gone. I forgot to eat and everything. It was bad. But then the last couple books came out, and it's basically Lord of the Rings spinoff. So he's definitely rushed them. Um, 9. This is hilarious. I love this one is in there. Okay, it can be high fives, but it says give hugs. Often just seeing the stress of others diminish and your own stress after a good hug or a high five or positive vibe situation like Frames does, any of that, or inhale the good, exhale the, as an angry hippie says. That actually can be very important if you can do that, especially if it's family or close friends, or say like in DC. I mean, we have a few of us hugged quite a bit in DC, to be honest with you. It was really good to see everybody, and even though there are people you never met physically, the connection was just immense. And then that's kind of the opposite of the next one, which was kind of talked about before, but disconnect. His notes were actually not bad, so I kind of just adapted them. My phone is my pager, my social media, my calendar, my tether 24/7. Smartphone is a wonder technology that is on my waist, in my hand, or in the car at all times. Some sacred time needs that to be shut off. Whether it's one day, as in many religions mandate, an hour in the living room. That was my add-on, or at the dining room table, or while meditating. And suggesting it works for some to keep your phone and your brain apart is using speakerphone, Bluetooth, or headsets. So you're not like I just saw this on Heavy's channel. They were talking about how people like to hold their phone like this and talk. In a way, it's almost like it makes you feel like you're talking at the person. So it gives you that almost personal feel. Plus, it doesn't feel so much like a device that way. At least that's my perspective on it. If you do talk to it like that. Whereas if it's up here, it's kind of like you're talking to your ear. It's just weird. But it also can kind of separate you from feeling like you have to do it. And it is hard for me to shut mine off because I always worry that someone might need help. So for me, I'm not real good at that one. That's one I could work on, but at the same time, it's kind of against my nature. So that's a tough one for me. We have talked about this before. Laugh. Humor can play a healing role today as well. I often end my day with a few minutes of comedy, be it on the TV or if on a stream. A lot of times we'll joke around and stuff, especially if we have guests, occasionally with each other, or we'll play a game or something, and we laugh about it. Like we've all known this, playing the Jackbox games, we all just spend some time just laughing and having a good time, and that alleviates a tremendous amount of stress. Daily Vape TV doing his Monday streams, that's been a big one for a lot of people. I know Lady Liberty does it quite often, and that was one of the ones that brought us into actually doing it, along with the Misfits do it and others as well, and it actually does help. You can put the day's worries behind you with a few enjoyable belly laughs and think positively about the coming day. Reset for the next day. It's a great idea. I also find action movies do that for me. I know it's not humor, but sometimes, you watch the action, or if I play a game that's actually got a lot of violence in it, I don't know, it kind of releases it. That can go either way. It can make it worse, especially with like things like Call of Duty games or any of those first-person shooter games. They can go the other way and make you more anxious, especially if you get somebody that's like a troll. Yeah, so be careful. And here's one I know John is really, really in tune with me on, and so are many of the others here in this chat. Connect with animals. Animals can soothe emotions on a level unlike any other. If you're a pet owner, you most likely already understand this feeling. But if you're not a pet owner, or you can't have a pet, like I said before, you can go to shelters and they will always want people to walk the animals or pet the animals or just spend time with them. A lot of times they'll let you in a cat room if you're a cat person, and you can just basically be mauled by cats in such a good way, or to walk the dogs, go in and pet the dogs, play ball with them, or tug of war or whatever. The animal shelters like that. And if you can adopt an animal but you're not really sure, there's almost always, if you check out on Craigslist, Facebook, or anything, they usually have people that are trying to find homes for pets that they can no longer take care of for some reason or other. So a lot of times I've had so many times where we've gotten either pets that way, or people knew that I would take them in and take care of them. So kind of like you see me in this community trying to help people constantly. That's the way I was with pets. I used to have my own reptile room for that at the other house, specifically for that reason.
That's where
But that's
Richard heard about it.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I mean, who else gets a cat to show up on the door and walk in and
He
stay?
heard he
He's
heard
right
about
there
your
on the back of the
services.
couch. He's right
He
there
heard
on the
about
back
your
of the couch.
heard about
Yeah.
your services. He figured he'd just drop in.
Yeah. That being said, I want to give you a chance to talk about anything that has to do with your thoughts on this, or any more notes that you wanted to add, even if they're personal.
Yeah, no, I just think, I I feel like, I've kind of been going over the same cycles, but I think those are what work for me, right? Um, I think it's very personal about how you get that positivity rolling. Everybody kind of has their own way. Um, but I do think that the things that we've talked about are pretty specific tools to be able to use, even in the midst of all of the craziness that's going to go on. It doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon. Um, we're rolling into this year, but you have the chance again to choose how you react to it, right? Um, I think one of the things that I've done that's been real therapeutic, and I'm going like on my second week here, but I tune in and I watch the live streams for a little bit, and then I stop, and then I'm going to come back and watch them on the replay. That gives me time to go in and spend time with my wife, to relax a little bit, to kind of unwind before I go to bed, and I actually find I'm sleeping better a little bit if I'm not on the screen all the time. That doesn't mean, I don't watch any lives. I do, but I kind of, you know, space it out, so it's able to, I'm able to just kind of take it in bit by bit. And it seems to help. It's not something I'm going to do for the long term, but it is a nice kind of pressure release, and just kind of, at the end of the day, let everything go. But it's one of those things that brings a little positivity in your life. You get up and you're not exhausted, or you feel like you're burned out at wherever you choose to view your particular shows at, it makes the shows actually better to go back and watch a live stream the next time, to be able to be part of that constant stream of chat. And so I just think there's a lot of stuff that we could be doing, a lot of prep time, but I think a lot of it is up to perception.
Yeah, that's all of them, Lady Liberty. The animals, for now. I mean, we used to have a ferret. We had snakes and lizards, but they all got older and eventually passed on. But that's okay. You guys ready for the Vaping Irish special? So, I'm going through and headed out of the grocery store. You know how they have the little machines for you put your change in and you get stuff out. Well, I had to get 2 of something, so I got these little troll dolls. Right? Okay. So that's one, and because it was naked, Lady Liberty came up with an idea. Here's where Vaping Irish comes in. She started talking about Vaping Irish, and she decided to make a little bondage kit for a troll to sit in his dungeon.
Jeez.
So, that's special for you. Just you, Vaping Irish. That's just for you. So I thought that, it was just something. It was a project. She just had to get around to putting it together, but you have to admit, that's perfect. There we go. A little humor at the end of the show. And also a little bit of anxiety for those that are kind of worried now about the situation. If you know who Vaping Irish is, then you understand. I think he'll like that. So I hope he gets a chance to see this.
You're all fuzzy now.
Oh, yeah, I will. I'll have to I'm gonna do this, and I gotta change this too because that is a terrible picture. But we'll work on it. There's a few things that I've been slacking on. Like I said, I've been working on a house, trying to do a renovation, trying to move things around. There's also going to be a big renovation for the upstairs studio before I go back up there. So got a lot of plans on trying to. And then you know what's funny? It turns out like 99% of the plans have to do with the show. Just trying to make better content for everyone so that we can do more. It's same with planning ahead. By the way, the shout out for this week. This is like coming down to the end of the week, but it's bad words week. I think it's like my perspective of it is an anti-bullying week this week for this month, and I'm gonna try and give shout outs to the different things. Another thing is I want to announce. I know the Misfits are May 1st, right? May 1st,
Yep,
which
first and
is
second,
really
yeah.
ironic because we talked to Texas Mom and stuff about the autism
Mm-hmm.
awareness thing. We are going to go through with it. I talked to her the other day on the phone. April 1st, we will be doing a charity stream live on this channel for autism awareness. As far as the donation places, I don't know the autism ones that well. She does. She's done this before. She knows what ones are legit and what ones aren't. So we will focus on donations to whatever ones she goes through with. So there will be 2 charity streams in a row for both for extremely good causes. If Matt or Kira wants to at least put in chat what they are for the charities and stuff that you know about, I think they might even not even be 100% sure. I know that they were going to do some of the same ones, if not all, from last year. Just it's one of those things where it can help a lot of people. The simple little things can make a huge difference. I'll be honest. When my son was in the hospital in a coma for months, I had actually drained myself so bad I wound up staying at the Ronald McDonald House. If it wasn't for that charity, I wouldn't have been able to stay up there with him. I would have only seen him every once in a while, and I was up there every day. My son was in a coma, so that's tough. And that's the other thing, raising money for Hope. I wanted to say that when I talked to her, she did say thank you to everyone. Very specifically did tell me to say thank you to Addie Tooney direct because of him posting links everywhere. It helps. She's been going through a lot. There's a few extra things. She hasn't been on social media much, but that's because there's a lot going on. And to keep stress down in the household for now, she's been off social media. Mm-hmm. I was lucky enough she did talk to me a little about the other day. She couldn't get into details about some things for that reason, but yeah, she's doing better. She'll get through it, and it won't be long. We'll see her back on social media again. That said, we have some wonderful people here in this chat that I do want to give them a shout out. They are planning that charity live, and I'm really excited for it. I know that we're going to be involved with part of it. I'm not 100% sure on how much of it I'll be able to get involved with. I had planned on before. I might have to back off a little now with type 2 diabetes situation and taking medication. Like I might not be able to do the eating challenge I planned, unfortunately. But I'm going to still plan on doing a couple of the others that I know that we had planned for sure. And I'll see about that. I mean, maybe there's a way around it. I mean, maybe if I take my medications at the right time, I might be able to. Because it seems like my sugars have been dropping more and more, as also my weight since this happened. Here's for instance, and I'm feeling much better. This is a positive for me. So I found out on Thanksgiving Day, I started my own diet. I didn't get on the medications until over a month later by the time they got me on the medication. But I'd kept my sugars down fairly well. But I've lost 35 pounds since Thanksgiving.
That's good.
So, yeah. And I haven't even been able to fully exercise because I couldn't get my full shots and stuff because my A1C was over 12. So I've been in a lot of pain with my knee and stuff at night, and I can't really push it too far like on a treadmill or for walks. I still do a fair amount, but not like I usually do. So that's mostly just diet and the medication's helping. So for me, that's a really big positive. We'll talk about it, Tobro. I have a weak stomach, but it was part of the possibility. Yeah, we'll see. Probably going to wind up doing something gross. I know. I know one thing we're doing is painful, but the gross one, yeah, we'll do what we have to do. Tobro, kind of they did for a little bit, but I'm going to be honest. You know how some people don't listen really perfectly to a doctor, and I like to play the game. So I was supposed to start off slowly into this. So I did have a few days where it was a little rough, but that's because I went. It's supposed to be like 2 weeks at a half a pill, 2 weeks at a pill, or a week or two at a pill, and a week or two at the other. Well, within the first week, I was on the 2 pills a day. So that's one of the reasons why I was able to start feeling better quicker. I had a couple rough days, but then after that, it kind of settled in. I've been fine. So that's a
Good
positive.
deal. Good
Yeah.
deal.
So they did. I asked the doctor if I could. He goes, and his message back was he wouldn't recommend it, but if I have a problem, just to back off some. So, and that was right before he retired too. So he wouldn't have been responsible anyway. So I know we have. Oh, we still got a little bit of time. It's actually that went pretty quickly.
Hmm.
That's actually good. What positive things has everyone else been doing that we haven't talked about? Maybe that have been trying to keep them going. Oh, vaping Irish. Okay, now you're. I see you here. This was for you. See. Wait. Now that's the one that was made for your dungeon. Just so you know. Just wanted to make sure you got a chance to view it. So I hope you like it. Um, that was just for you. Like I said, there was something in plans. I just had to wait for her to finish making it. Yeah. Well, actually, yeah, Lando. I'll admit that was a little rough for a little while. So that is usually that was the issue I had. Definitely was a lot more bathroom trips than usual for about a little less than a week. Really didn't I
Hmm.
transition really fast. My body adapts. Hence having a 90% blockage of Widowmaker not showing up EKG because I'm so good at focusing on my breath and my heart. I was able to slow my heart to a normalish rate. Just couldn't get my blood pressure down. Couldn't think my way through that one. So that's life. Amazingly, meditation will teach you how to do things that you wouldn't expect. Like, I don't think I would have survived if I didn't have that meditation technique down to bring myself into calm. I probably would have died during that heart issue because it did block. Technically, I did have a heart attack. There just wasn't any damage done because it did block on the way to the hospital. If I hadn't taken my aspirin on the way there, I wouldn't be here right now. So but that is actually when I started to open up and realize, instead of living in my own little world, I had my world that I was being like Ganesh and keeping my own little world, but I had my world so small it was like circling just my daughter. And that's when I started realizing, it's time to open that up a little bit. Because when she's like now, she's getting older and she needs me less and less, I would have been in a bad spot. So that's another thing. Try to think ahead of what you might want to do. Don't keep your doors closed too much. Because then if something happens to that little circle you have, even if it's just natural evolution of the situation, you can put yourself in a bad spot later. And I
Sure
had the
can.
foresight to know that. Yeah, well, actually, Tobro is working really well. I'm not having any issues with it. I adapted a little bit with my taking of it around when I eat, though. And typically, I always eat 2 meals a day anyway. So I don't. I mean, take 2 pills a day, eat 2 meals a day. You can take it right a little while before you eat. You're good to go. So
Yeah.
I even had a box of Whoppers yesterday, and it didn't get my blood sugars above 150, 160. So,
Box of Whoppers.
oh my God, it was so good. It was so good. You know what it was? Here's the ironic thing. There's a certain package exchange happening, remember? So I went and
Mhm.
bought a tote to make sure this stuff stays good and, secured, nothing can get into it. Well, while I was going through there, I realized I had bought a extra box of those to make sure I had some. I was like, oh, yeah. So, yeah, it's, it was good to be able to eat it and then not have to worry my sugars weren't that bad, which is amazing. So, yeah, you can get through it. And I think a little of it's losing the weight. It's actually becoming more effective. Because I think when my sugars were spiking a little bit, it might have actually been my body transferring, because it was spiking kind of weird, like
Mhm.
not spiking high, but getting a little bit on a higher spectrum, like 170s, 180s. All of a sudden, when I hadn't eaten in a while, I wonder if that might have been the body fat coming off and being transitioned into sugars.
Could be.
I mean, I don't know how exactly it works. I know metformin works in weird ways, so we'll see. So far, so good. I'm not losing muscle, so good. Yeah, I
And
see.
you
You're
should know that
done.
was coming.
Yeah, Lando is going to be done in 2 to 3 weeks. No, I'm probably never coming off at Lando. Sorry. So we won't be poop buddies no more.
Mm.
Uh,
I th- I thought you were responding to Irish's coming because I knew the minute you said Whoppers there was going to be something.
well, they can be Whoppers. It depends on who they're on. But of course, fire should go there. I instigated him with the doll. I can't even say nothing.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm type 2, Jake. I actually was. I didn't get diagnosed till the week after Thanksgiving, but I saw my results and knew all my symptoms as of Thanksgiving Day. I got my test results back, saw where my blood sugars were at. It was showed that it was under 400, so I took out the. I had borrowed Lady Liberty's tester because she's type 1, and tested, and yeah, sure enough, my sugars were extremely high. But within like by the time I saw my doctor, I'd already had like 3 days under 200 because I was eating less than 6 carbs per meal. And let me tell you, if anyone's ever tried it, I dare you to try to eat less than 6 carbs per meal for multiple days. It is, I mean, you're talking fruits, vegetables, nothing. No, can't do that. Certain types of cabbage are too much. I mean, it's bad. It was horrible. And my doctor actually gave me the option when I saw him that day. He goes, "You're doing so good with this." I brought in my log of my sugars. He goes, "You're doing so good. I don't really have to put you on this medication." I go, "Yes, medication. Yes, I'm not staying in this diet the rest of my life. There's no way. I'll die of malnutrition." It was bad. Yeah.
You get one thimble of rice.
Yeah. Keto was one thing. Keto is not a bad thing, but I was going like super keto. Like even keto allows you some carbs, like at least in your fruits and vegetables. Nope, I couldn't even do that. Like Lando sent me
Yeah.
this list of smoothies and stuff like making good foods to eat, and I was checking it out, looking up the carbs. That nope, nope. Oh, I found out another thing. So if anyone goes through this, onions actually have 10 carbs per for a medium onion. So an onion would spike my blood sugar well over 200.
Yeah.
So that was a thing we found out, and that was the mystery thing because we always had onions when we made our homemade sauces and stuff for spaghetti. That was a mystery ingredient that used to always throw Lady Liberty's sugars higher than she expected because even after she bolused for it with the pump, it was always off after we ate spaghettis and stuff. We could never figure it out. Well, we didn't realize onions. I thought onions was a freebie. You know, it's an onion. Nope, they're not a freebie. Avocados, I found out, have like 12 carbs in them. I put an avocado in a salad, and that was really bad because I ate two of them
You
one day thinking they're healthy. You know?
should just substituted onions with habaneros and you'd been fine.
Actually, we had jalapenos and everything. I was eating
Yeah.
jalapenos like crazy. That was like the one flavorful food I could eat. Because another thing I had to avoid was salt, so it's like I had to have something. And we haven't really stopped because I still eat jalapenos and everything. It's just one. It's one of my favorite pepper because I love the flavor of it.
Hmm.
It's not just
Yeah,
because
me
it,
too.
not just the spice. You can leave the seeds in for spice,
Yeah.
take them out for not, but the flavor. Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, you either love it or you hate it. Yeah, yeah, that's actually true. For the first couple weeks, that's what I was saying. I think that my body fat coming off had a lot to do with it because 15 carbs would throw me up around 200 every single time. And now I ate that thing of Whoppers yesterday and stuff, and I ate it partially because my sugars were staying real low, like in the 110 range, like all
Hmm.
day, no matter what I ate. And I even had rice yesterday. So yeah, I don't know how this became a nutritional thing, but it does make a
I don't know.
difference on what you eat. And it is a positive thing. I'm very happy that I'm losing some of the weight. It's one of those things. Here's the ironic thing. My cardiologist actually suggested me being put on metformin when I wasn't diabetic to help me take off some of the weight. So when my doctor asked me, he goes, "Well, what do you? Oh, you probably should go see your cardiologist." I go, "He's already on board. How do you know?" Because he already told me like a year ago he wanted me on it, but I couldn't do it because technically I didn't qualify. I was
Hmm.
pre-diabetic. So yeah, well, it actually turned out to be a positive in the end. I don't mind. I don't like taking pills, but hey, I feel healthier for it. I'm feeling like I got more energy now that things are coming through. It takes a little while.
Right.
Wait until I can fully really rage out on the exercise machine now. Yeah, you guys saw the Bowflex in the corner there, and the treadmill's right next to it. I just can't use them really heavy at the moment because, like I said, the shots haven't come in. In summertime, I can anyway, but in wintertime, those joints hurt bad, and I got too much work to do around the house.
No, Jake Scrapwood says scallions instead of onions. Half the sugar.
Ooh, we did talk about looking into that, but never did.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's good to know, actually. Now I can have some onions and stuff anyway because of sugar, but I mean, I don't have a problem. I like scallions. I wonder about what's the other one? You got scallions, and you got where you just cut the greens off. You used to have them growing at the old house. Wow, I can't think of it. I'm going brain dead here. What is it? You usually have it in like onion soups.
You talking about the spring onions?
Well, kind of like spring onions, but there's a specific type. Please, someone help me out with this one. It's like a green onion, but they're not onions. They're just a tip. You just eat the green parts. You don't eat the bottoms, and they regrow every year. They're a perennial, not an annual. Wow, I feel dumb at the moment. I know it because I used to have them all the time, and I haven't done them in a long time.
I can't remember what they're called.
Usually in almost all Chinese dishes, you see them chopped up. They're real fine, like little green circles. Chives, that's it. Lady Liberty figured it out. Yeah, chives. That's another one that probably doesn't have much for carbs.
Right.
But yeah, but like I said, I haven't been able to lately. But I don't understand. I've been trying to figure that out. I'm guessing my body started taking that fat off and was converting it to sugars. Shallots, chives. You know what, guys? We might have to do an episode on food one of these days. Actually, it's probably not a bad idea. You know, not just that, but you guys, here's some homework for anyone in chat or watches this on replay. Do a little homework. We'll do a future episode in probably about a month or so, and we'll do it on foods, healthy foods, and we'll try to do it as spring foods that are coming out. Because that's another thing. When it comes to vegetables and stuff, you have the whole seasonal thing. That made it hard. I found out in the middle of winter, after I had a whole bunch of stuff that was not good in my fridge for me. Oh, by the way, I found out I didn't like it at first, but when you don't eat any carbs at all and you get less than 6 carbs per meal, everything tastes sweet. So I had tried before and hated spaghetti squash. Turns out, if you starve yourself from any sugars or carbs for like a month and a half, you don't mind it. It tastes sweet. So that's a trick. You starve yourself and everything tastes good. Yeah. Hey, Tabitha. Yeah.
Irish said cooking for liberty.
You know what? That's not a problem. You know, it can be a liberty thing too. Think about it. I mean, we're talking about, you know what, when we should do that cooking episode? Around the 4th of July. Because how many people do you know that, I mean, we like to do it, have a cookout for 4th of July. Why not have some healthy sides at least? I mean, obviously everybody's going to have the meat on the grill if they're not vegetarian. That's 4th of July. You just do it. We almost cooked out some burgers on the grill yesterday, but it was cold out there, so we decided to cook them in the house.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not so fun. Not so much fun busting out the grill when it's like 10 below.
No, it's not. Yeah, I know. Vaping Irish has talked about foods before, so he's got some interesting ideas on them. And, you know, another one we might want to talk about at some point is, you know, maybe we can give a couple little bumps here and there and something on here. If not on here, on the other channel, maybe we'll have a day where we're both on the other channel instead. But, like, you know, highlight some people. Just to kind of highlight some people, like Jake, his woodworking, amazing work. So I wouldn't mind doing some highlights of different people's things at certain points. I mean, it might be on the other channel because that's pretty much what it's going to be, is just kind of giving bumps to everybody. There'll be no negative on there because there's no point. If you don't like things, it's a matter of perspective, or you know, or it just really sucks and it's not worth talking about. So,
right.
Spread the good news.
Positivity.
Positivity. Yeah. And if here we go, Irish. I just need to send your little buddy out to you. You hang him in your dungeon. Yeah, you guys are awesome. That said, it has been just about an hour, and I do want to let everybody go over to
Yeah.
Grim Green and show them a little love. I mean,
Have a little break.
and
Have a
you
little break
like,
before he gets up and rolling. Yeah.
yep, and we do have Addie Tooney and Grim Green going to be on this Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. That's
Truth.
6 p.m. Grim Green's time is what he said. So I thought it was 4 hours. It is only 3. Oh, that's right. It is only 3. It's the other time zone's the one that doesn't change. That's why there's 4. I always forget about that. Was that the Mountain Time Zone?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. That said, we're going to have a really good show. It's about positivity and community and just discussing and asking some questions. There's a few questions about how they got to where they are and why they feel the way they are and how they feel. So those are things that I'm sure that we're all going to love. Ooh. Secret project is finished. Oh, nice. Yeah, I have actually got a few previews of some of the stuff he works on, and I'll admit, I get all happy. I'll be in chat, and he'll send me something like, and I'll not be paying attention to chat anymore. Yeah, he does some awesome work, and people that can do things like that, like Ashton with his coding, Addie Tooney with his modifications he's done in the past and still does. There are other people that can do it, obviously, at this point, but he was kind of one of the pioneers on some of those modifications. I'll be honest, I don't think I'd want one without at least knowing how to do Addie's modifications to it. That's just me. I love it. I love the community. I love the things that everybody does. Mm-hmm. The Misfits have been doing a great job with the UK show, and getting ready for another charity run. I mean, this is just going to be all good. We're already starting off. I mean, last year we didn't really get to do much. I guess it was almost a year and a half ago when they did that other charity, wasn't it? Yeah. Because last year I think there was talk about it, and then the chaos just ensued.
Yeah.
So I love you all. It's great to see you guys here. It's always
thanks for coming out.
Thanks
for coming out. We appreciate it.
Yep. And we will see you guys Saturday with a couple of really awesome guests that I consider the heart of our community. There's other people that are heart of the community as well, but these are 2 major parts. So, I mean, even when you get a chance to feel the heart on the screen when you're watching, because you'll have Grim on the screen, and then I love it when it's Thursdays, and then you have Addie Tooney in the chat, and sometimes the 2 entities sometimes they match, sometimes they sway away from each other, but it's like a living form of caring, love, and compassion, as well as caring about your personal freedom and your freedom of choice. It's just the 2 of them together. I can't think of a better combination. And there's others that are right up there, but those are the 2 I love the most, I think. Love you guys. And you guys have a good night. Stay safe. Stay good. And have a good week. It's going to be cold for some of us.